So let's see. We had progressed quite a bit implementing some of the website pages yesterday with the intent of working on the assignment number 2. We had showed you how we showed you how to create a responsive table, right? That allowed you to show and hide different columns as the page grew and shrunk. I believe we also worked on the navigating to the edit page, and in the edit page we showed you how to create a split view where you had on the left-hand side you had the list of the websites, and then on the right-hand side you had a form that had a 1/3, 2/3 split up until the screen was too small and it only showed the right-hand side. Yes? Yes.
So I want to change how I show one of my videos.
How what?
How I show in one of my videos.
Okay.
But I want to change only this one specifically. Should I use an ID or should I use a subclass?
If it's just that one, right, then use an ID. But typically you probably want to reuse that same look and feel elsewhere, right? If you think you're going to ever want to show another icon with the same features, maybe the same colors or maybe the bigger font or whatever, if you're going to be reusing it, then I would use a class. Yeah. Yep. All right. So so here's the edit page that we were looking at, I believe yesterday. And if you clicked on delete, it navigated back to the list of all the websites. If you clicked on a particular website, it navigated to the pages. I think this is pages list. I think what we did is that we copied and pasted website lists onto page lists, right? And so that's why it has exactly the same content. So the what's remaining here to work on is the widget. Did we work on widget list yesterday? I forget. No? All right, so let's work on widget list. Oh, yes, you're right. Okay, so why don't we do that first? You mean this scrolling?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that's why we had added all this on the left-hand side. All right. Okay, let's play around with that. So first, let's try and do it again on the browser inspector. Right. So the idea would be that since the content is so long on the left-hand side, we want that to scroll, but not necessarily the form. Right. We want the form to stay. Right now, the whole page scrolls. Right. So one way that we could do it is, let's see if we inspect this. Right, and maybe bring it here. Let's see, how do we want to do this? All right, there it is. Let's put this on the right-hand side. Let's see, so what we could do is we can grab this, right? And what we could do, let's see, what could we do? We could position it in absolute. Right, we can position absolute, and that didn't work. That still screws it up, right? Well, we could position that and then just say that we don't want it to move. We can say stick to the stick the top to 0, or maybe a little further down. Maybe a little further down. Right, and maybe stick the bottom also to the so that it doesn't move. Right, and then say that if the content is way too big, right? If it's too big, it doesn't fit. We can say that the overflow, right? If it doesn't fit, you can either clip it, maybe just clip it, right? That means notice that it doesn't scroll anymore, right? Just clip it. If there's no more. Or what we could do is just say we can scroll, right? We can scroll. It says put a scroll bar if it doesn't fit, right? And then now we have just the left-hand side scrolling, right? But notice that the form is kind of screwed up, right? So let's see what we can do with this with the form. No, so the form is what's right here. It's this like thing on the right hand side. It's the second column, or there's two columns: the left hand side column, the right hand side column. So what we could do is that because the left hand side is now position absolute, it no longer participates in the regular calculation of the positioning or of everything else. It's not pushing anything else now, right? It used to be 33%, right? It was a third, two-thirds split, but it's no longer there, right? The width of the right-hand side is still 66. Notice, right? To maintain that two-thirds split, and that comes from our SM8, right? SM8 gives it that 66%. So what we could do is maybe push it to the left. Maybe push it to the left, like margin left, like 33%, right? So it gets pushed, so that as far as this is concerned, the left-hand side is just empty. There's nothing there, right? It's being pushed from the leftmost edge of the screen, right? And that somewhat would give us that this is what we're looking for, right? Yeah, the problem is that when you're small screens, right, it disappears and you still have that 33%, right? So what we might want to do is that instead of putting the rule here for forever, meaning I always want the margin left to be 33%. Notice that we have this media rule down here. See that? And this media rule says that it's where we declare the column, right, SM8, right? See that? That goes away. It goes away when we become small. Notice that the media rule goes away, right? Because it was only applicable for screens that were a minimum of 768 and above, right? So what we could do is make that margin be in that rule, right? So instead of putting it here, right, let's grab that. Let's copy that. We could put it in here. We put that there, right? So that when that margin is only there when from small screens and above, right? And then it goes away. It goes away, and then it goes back to its normal block behavior, right? A couple more things that we might want to do is notice that the scroll bar, when we scroll all the way to the bottom, notice that we have some clipping down here, right? It's so we can compensate for here by maybe not. Notice also there's like a white space over here. The scroll bar doesn't exactly match the top header. So what we could do is bring this top, not 58, but let's bring it all the way down so that it touches. So it touches that edge. But now it looks weird, right? Because we don't have like a border at the top. But that's okay. We can add some padding, perhaps. Some padding at the top. Some padding top, like 10 pixels perhaps, right? And just bring it down a little bit. And 15 is the standard gutter that Bootstrap uses. And we can use the same thing down at the bottom, right? Notice that I can't scroll any further. What we could do is put some padding at the bottom, padding bottom. I don't know how much, 10 pixels, let's see. Okay, no, it's getting a little better. Let's scroll a little, let's make it a little better. 15. 15 is quite not there, so let's go up maybe 25. Let's see, can we scroll further? Okay, so notice that we're almost right at the edge, right? So maybe go with 30 pixels, right? So these rules now, what we need to be able to do is just grab these rules, right? Grab this entire rules that we've been playing with, and make them permanent. Make them permanent in your style sheets, for instance, right? You can say, I don't know, we can say maybe dot scrollable left, right? And put those rules in there, and then apply this to the file, and the file was website edit, right? Website edit. Right, we can apply scrollable left, to that particular SM. So that if we refresh, okay, the scroll is there, but I forgot to copy the other one, right? So let's see the let's see, can we make it bigger? For the second one is this one. We can copy this, right, and say that this is what did we say? Margin left, 33%. Right, we can copy this entire rule and make it permanent in our style sheet. So media rules have their own namespace, right? And then the actual transformation is in here. So the way this is read is that the following rules only apply, right, for screens that are bigger than 768. Okay, right. If it's smaller than 768, this rule does not apply. Make sense? Right. So the only thing we're overriding is the margin left. Right? Everything else is being inherited from the bootstrap style sheets. Right. So if we refresh, we've made that permanent. Right, so that's why you want to be as targeted as possible, right? As specific as possible, so that you're not, unintentionally, right, breaking other things, right?
So should you assign a class to that object?
Actually, yeah, that would be a better rule. Yeah, that'd be a good idea. Yep. All right. All right. So actually, let me